Yeah, I think there's several things. I guess it depends on how, where you want to start. I think the first thing was my background was in finance. I worked at a hedge fund for about four years. I look young. I'm 35, but I actually have experience in the finance world. I saw the boom and bust that we saw in the real estate market in Miami from 2004 to 2007, 2008. I got out right before it hit because we had a feeling it was going to happen, so I got out. Then I moved to China and I saw what was happening in China. I saw the how fast it went from a cash-oriented country to debit cards to digital payments and QR codes within, no joke, a 4-year span. I mean, it was insanely intense. And when I saw that, it was just, mind-blowing, right? Then started a business in China just to get my feet wet in entrepreneurship. And then I started working on a financial platform called eFin, which is, we mentioned in our roadmap, which is essentially a credit score for stocks. So what we wanted to do is analyze stocks and have certain scores. And the goal was always trying to make people's lives easier with decision-making, especially highly complex decisions, right? Like buying stocks. Then we got invited to speak at MIT for a fintech conference, and we saw the amount of blockchain projects and speakers that were there, and we started talking to a few of the MIT people, and we thought, oh, this is really interesting. Perhaps there's something that we can do here. And we decided to pivot the entire business to just go into all-in crypto, and it just makes a lot of sense. It makes sense on an international level, me being abroad for so long and seeing how disruptive it is in the actual world. And some people think it's negative. I think it's actually positive. It's just how a government or an institution decides to embrace it. So we look at it as we were offering us something day one, which is the blockchain, the actual technology of the blockchain. So a lot of people may not understand, but there's different types of blockchains, but a large majority of them that we've seen lately with a lot of ICOs are based on Ethereum. But the really, really strong blockchains, the ones that have been around and really popular, are the ones that are based off Bitcoin. So what we did is we started to work on a blockchain that's based off Bitcoin. We started adding features to it to make it more private and more secure. It's like getting a base car and adding sunroof, tinted windows, bulletproof windows and stuff like that, so that it's more secure and more private. Then the other aspect of what we're trying to bring to the table is the business side, the business aspect, which is how do you make this possible so that it can be used through commercial transactions in a very safe and secure way. And that's the whole offering, right? So what makes this different in regards to our blockchain compared to others? So we cover all the people's IP addresses through the Tor integration. So Tor has this negative rap that it's about the dark net and just, things done illegally, but that's not really the case. A type of Tor client is if you go to your Chrome browser and you put incognito mode, that's still hiding your IP address or who you are to some extent. So it's still available. It's just that, some people have chosen to use it for, malicious things. So, but we decided that's important because if you want to make a transaction, it's okay for people to know who you are if you want them to. But if you do not want them to know who you are, you have that right to hide that. We also have in our platform in the wallet integrated chat, so you can have highly encrypted secure chat, as well as group chats, which I think is really important because there's so much stuff that happens online that if for whatever reason, you want to have private conversations, you can. So that's another differentiator right there. Sure. So part of the business aspect of this is to purchase a bank. And people say, why are you purchasing a bank? The argument of crypto has been that it's going to eliminate banks. And to some extent, that is correct. I do believe that a large percentage of banks will close or branches or whatever because of crypto. However, in order to transition from this old world to the new world, you need to have ties to the old, right? You need to have ties. And I'll give you an example. And I was talking to somebody today earlier about this, but Netflix got into the, sending DVD business, right? They put it in the envelope and they mailed it to you. And that was pretty traditional. Other companies are doing the same thing. Even Blockbuster was doing it. But that got them the foundation and the base for them to have a large number of consumers so that if they ever went digital, it would not be difficult for them to do that. So for us, the way we look at it is if you start incorporating a bank, if you incorporate merchant services, which allows businesses and consumers to transact in TPay, especially if they bought in exchanges or whatever, and those consumers eventually have a debit card where they can spend those transactions, you have a very, very large network of users consuming or using the actual TPay. And when you have a lot of users using it, then that to some extent increases the value of the coin or whatever. So the goal is how can you create a infrastructure or opportunity where you have a lot of people using it. And I think that's why we put the bank and why we have the merchant services and why we have the debit card. Right now, as of today, we've raised about 3.5 to 4 million, depending on what price you want to use for Bitcoin. Things will get probably crazy over the next few days, just because it's the end of this first week of the bonus. Again, that doesn't testify that I'm telling you to invest or anything. We are still not an investment. We're still a utility token. Keep that in mind. We cannot speculate on what future prices are, but we have put in our white paper that we intended to raise, I think, $30 to $40 million. I'm not sure if that's still possible, but given the momentum and the amount of registrations that we have on our website, we think that that's pretty possible. I don't know what the degree of level of confidence, but enough to say that if we hit it, then we'll be able to more than execute all the stuff. I mean, we have a lot more plans than we have in our roadmap. We already are talking to partners to already integrate the merchant services. They like the idea. They definitely want to jump into the alpha or beta testers for it. And that's what really excites me, is that we've had so many conversations already since we decided to start the whole process. Here we go. All right, so this is the homepage. Not sure if everybody can see it. I recommend, if you can have time to watch the video, it's a few minutes just kind of explaining the whole overarching theme of what we're trying to do. The big problems that we're trying to solve. I recommend that you read the white paper. The white paper is 60-something pages long. It's got plenty of disclosure so you understand everything we're trying to offer and provide, but also, make sure you understand everything. But let me go back to the website. So let's just go into kind of the blockchain and what really is. So what we've done is gone, like I mentioned, the core source code of Bitcoin, essentially out of those features. So the first feature that we added was Tor network integration. The second and third feature is multi-signature and dual key stealth addresses. And so what is that? A lot of people don't understand what that is. A 2 of 3 multi-signature is you logging in, essentially you logging into an account, putting your password, and getting a code in your phone to verify that you are who you are. But you can do that in other ways through the actual blockchain technology, so you can record all of that and provide a level of safety. The other thing that we have is called dual key stealth addresses, which means you can send our TPay to somebody else without anybody knowing that you actually sent it. So why is that something that people want to have? Well, maybe I want to do a large transaction. I don't want anybody to know. Maybe I want to do a small transaction. I just don't want anybody to know. So if you think about it, cash itself is pretty anonymous, right? So if it's anonymous, you're able to go and transact all the time. For example, let's say you hire a babysitter and you pay them in cash, and that babysitter decides to use that cash and pay somebody else, and that never gets deposited in a bank account. Cash has always been anonymous. Nobody knows exactly how much money has been gone through the whole system. But the reality is it's still legal. It's not nefarious activity, and it's something that you can do. Right now, anything that you do online, anything that's digital, is tracked by everybody. And I think the purpose is if there's something that you want to do privately, you can, and that's one of the vehicles that we provide. The other thing is called zero knowledge proof and ring signatures. So just to kind of tell you quickly what that technology is let's assume that I'm going to, not assume, but if I'm going to send, let's say you, Darren, $100 or $200, I can easily do that through the blockchain using the public ledger. So you have 2 choices with us. You have regular, which You can transact and you can see through the public ledger that I sent you from X wallet to Z wallet, what it is and the amount. That's immediately available. But if I send you this $100, what I can do is I can send it to you, but I can put it in this temporary compartment, okay? And in this temporary compartment, you can take out money from that specific area as often as you want, as frequent as you want, whenever you want. And nobody will know exactly when you took it out and for how much until it goes to zero. Only you know. So that's essentially hiding that from the actual blockchain. So zero knowledge proof, the actual technology is, I know it's a little complicated, but it's essentially me and you have a password to something. I don't know whether the password you have is the right one. I do, and I don't want you to tell me what it is. It's like a hint, but if there's a way that you can figure out what our passwords are together without me actually knowing, just I know because you did something, then you're able to transact that. And that's how that technology works with the actual zero knowledge proof, okay? The last is the integrated chat. So you're actually communicating, you get somebody's address, you type that in, they type your address, you start communicating back and forth, and you're able to do that the whole time anonymously. So when you're looking at our website, you're able to have the wallets. So wallets, a lot of people don't understand that when you go to an exchange, that is a wallet, right? But when you do that, you are exposing yourself to a significant amount of risk, because the people who are wanting to go attack a major exchange are going to attack all the wallets. So you have to be extremely careful what you have on exchanges. It doesn't matter which one it is, whether it's Coinbase or whatever, you are exposing yourself, specifically if the wallets are held online. And why is that? When you go on Coinbase and you're sending a transaction, they usually don't ask you for a private key because the private keys are already embedded in the system. So when you go and send money from X wallet to Z wallet, so it's the only way to make it so easy and simple for anybody to use, they basically need to eliminate one of the most critical steps. And so if those addresses are held on a web server somewhere, hackers are going to go after that. That's how they steal all of these coins. That's why you hear all these exchanges getting hacked and coins getting stolen and transferred. And you can see all the transactions if it is, right? So the important thing that we wanted to have is our actual own wallets that we know that are controlled by us, that we can essentially provide security that you'll be okay. Now, it doesn't protect you from, I guess the word is stupidity if you lose your password, right? If you lose your password, then you're not going to get back into your wallet if you lost all those coins. So we have mobile wallets. We have Android right now, and then we have the desktop wallet, and I can even show you the wallet itself and what it looks like and the features. Okay. We also have paper wallets. It's kind of traditional, but you know, if you want to be a little bit more conservative and you have some TPay, you can get that print out, put it in a safe deposit box, and just leave it there for as long as you want. I mean, it's just another way of storing stuff. So the whole overarching theme on the business side is to purchase a bank overseas. We're in discussions with a bank in Vanuatu, but we're also looking at other jurisdictions, such as Cayman Islands and Switzerland, depending on how much funds we were able to receive. So, like I mentioned, you have the benefit of having the actual debit card. Debit card allows you to spend. So the way it works is you would have on your phone the actual digital wallet. It would show you all the currencies you have, including TPay. And then let's say you want to use a debit card, you'll be able to immediately see on your mobile phone the amount of money that's being taken out by that specific currency, whichever one you want. The merchant will receive that as in dollars. So that's what takes in, and you need an exchange. So that's what we're providing as well. So yeah, merchant processing, that's also really important. The goal is to have as much availability and accessibility for businesses. Why is merchant processing important for the business world? Well, guess what? Merchant processing costs 3% on all transactions, if not more, if you're dealing with the international. And one of the #1 problems with merchant processing is A, fraud, and B, chargebacks. It's a very, very expensive thing when you deal with that. So anybody that transacts with us, they get a really low fee. And then with other currencies, they get charged a little bit more. So we think that if a lot of businesses catch on to the fact that they can reduce their costs in incorporating this type of technology onto their web platforms or potentially even offline, then there's a lot of benefits to that. And I mean offline as in POS type stuff that you can have. So it is online, but not on like a desktop or anything like that. So roadmap, I've mentioned already a few things already where we had stuff with EFIN and having the partnership with literally its own stock exchange. Then we were featured in a panel in MIT, and then eventually we pivoted the business and started working on all the aspects and goals of the actual project. And so our roadmap takes us to about until the end of next year, already to the beginning of 2019. But there's a lot of stuff on here that we have not put on because there's still a lot of stuff in discussions, but there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that we can do to improve the blockchain. So for example, I'll tell you guys one is a thing called RSK contracts, or it's called smart contracts. Smart contract is this basically when me and you have an agreement to do something, and on X specific day, time, minute, second, automatically that money is released. And so that allows certain things, projects, etc., to be followed upon that smart contract that's executed. So our blockchain is capable of doing that, and that's something that we will incorporate as well. Okay. So yeah, I think in regards to the token sale, we have 25 million coins in total. What sets us apart from the other blockchains that are out there, specifically Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin is what they call a proof of work. Proof of work is where you are required to have a very, very powerful computer.
Oh, we lost Derek there. Derek, you there? Derek, we lost you there, bro. Just maybe you muted out.
Can you hear me now?
He is the CEO.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep. He created token.
Sorry.
All right, can you mute the rest of the lines, please?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. So proof of work is where you're required to have a very expensive computer to mine. They call it mine Bitcoin. And what that is solving highly complex mathematical problems so that you can move the blockchain. Now, what ends up happening is that it's extremely expensive to run these computers. In fact, there are warehouses in China with thousands of these computers running just to mine Bitcoin. And they've been very profitable for a very long time. But what ended up happening was all of these people in China, Russia, and parts of the world have started to become controlling more and more of the mining power of the Bitcoin blockchain. And the intensive purposes of blockchain is that it is decentralized, where if one part of a network or several computers or whatever falls apart, the system still goes on. But it's gone to a point where one of the largest miners in the world controls so much power. That's why they have all these forks. You have Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, and there's all this new one that's called SegWit2, which means segregated witness 2. There's also the other stuff they're trying to do with, I think, the Lightning Network. It's not a fork, but that's what they're trying to do to make the blockchain faster. And it's become a problem. But also the most important thing is it's expensive. Why are you spending electricity for nothing, essentially? You are just solving mathematical problems. You're not using electricity to heat homes. You're not, starting electricity to produce more electricity. And it's gotten to a point where a lot of people are shifting to what they call proof of stake. Proof of stake is where you do not need an expensive computer. You can use your own computer. You can, essentially what you're doing is you give up a certain percentage of the coins that you have in your wallet, and you are not donating, but you're essentially giving up your processing power of your computer to basically move along the blockchain. Okay? So it's very cheap. You just open up your laptop, you start using the actual software, you start earning coins just for what they call staking. So if you had 100 coins and you staked 365 days a year, 7 days a week, you would receive 5% of your coins for the entire year, right? So that's important because that is what's needed to actually have a strong decentralized network. This is one of the reasons why we're doing this token sale. The token sale provides us an opportunity to get as many users as possible to use the actual coin and actually start staking. That's one of the motivations of doing this token sale. It's to increase that and broaden that. But also it's a very cheap form for us to get customers. If we have a ton of people that sign up for this token sale, whether it's 50, 100, whatever it is, $200,000, and we decide or we start to, offer products and services that they would be interested in, then it's a great opportunity to also have them join as well, right? They're using it every day, and we're going to have more ways for them to use it. And the more things more things they have for them to use, the better for everybody. So this is where we're different in regards to that blockchain. So we only have 25 million coins. Bitcoin has about 21 point something million. So the difference is not that much. It's about 20%. Is acquiring a bank. It's acquire, integrate, or form a new bank charter. We're looking at different options. Why? Sometimes acquiring a bank may not be smart with money sometimes, because you start to acquire the bank and then you have to put more capital into it, and there's still a lot of old infrastructure that's there. But if you integrate with maybe 3 or 4 banks, you have an opportunity to scale and grow the business faster. But there's pros and cons to everything. So that's why we're looking at different options. Eventually, we'll have the exchange, which we need a lot of liquidity, so that's why we need to raise the money to be able to do that. And then, of course, operations, management, tech, etc. So the timeline, we have a bonus structure between 100% for the first week, which means right now the price of the coin that we asked for, we pegged it to Bitcoin, is about $5 something, but with the bonus it ends up being about $250-ish, more or less. And if you refer a friend, that 100% bonus, meaning that if they purchase 100 TPay, they would get a bonus of 100%, which is 200, but you would get 100, right? So if you make that same transaction 100, you got 200, you would get 100 from your friend. You've essentially got it for 300. Why did we do this? A lot of people asked us. Several reasons. Number one, when we first started this project, Bitcoin was about $2,000, $3,000, and it got way out of hand. And it got up to like $15,000. And so we decided a high bonus rate would reduce the price. The second thing was that we wanted a much larger base of people, because that would allow us to expand and grow the network faster. And we wanted more adoption. The more adoption, the better. So we thought that this type of structure would be the best way to help us achieve our business goals as we accomplish all the milestones that we have in our roadmap. Okay, so these are just the tiers of what we're planning on doing and how much that's being funded and where it's going. And that's pretty much it. I can go into the team. Let's go into the team a little bit. So that's me right there on the left-hand side. Talked a lot. So Carlos Salazar is our CTO. His experience is in gambling or gaming companies, online gaming companies. They pretty much get attacked every single day, right? I mean, they're dealing with tens of millions of dollars every day. And the most important thing in being able to build a good crypto bank and exchange is being able to make sure that none of the stuff that's in there is hacked. Third person is Joseph Passetti. I've known him for 17 years, and he is an accomplished banker. His experiences in the M&A space. He working with banks. He worked at small banks and made them bigger by becoming regional banks and getting those regional banks to become bigger. John is our marketing officer. You'll see him on Facebook and other places. Senna Garcia is our general counsel. We have Aaron, who's our application developer in China. He's also helping us to get China a little bit off the ground there. A little bit difficult now, given the government. Lawrence is our UX designer, and then Vlad is our back-end developer. In regards to advisors, one other thing that a lot of the other companies and token sales do not have is credibility in regards to who has audited or made sure that the blockchain is of high standards. So we decided, or we were very fortunate enough to have Sunarok, who's the lead developer of Verge. Verge is right now $120 million coin in coin market cap, and they're very, very notoriously known for privacy and security. That's extremely important, because when you have somebody that's been in the community for 4 or 5 years saying that your stuff is good, that really makes a huge difference. Carlos Araya is our legal advisor. He's got strong networks in international banking. That's why we decided that he would be a great advisor. Charles Moscow as well. He's helped out with the strategy and helping us network with specific businesses as well as banks, and that's pretty instrumental. And Elizabeth has been looking at, auditing and looking at all of the aspects of how we get into the banking part and making sure that we comply with certain rules and regulations. So that's pretty much it. That's a very long-winded explanation of what we do.
Fantastic. If you want to just maybe unshare your screen there, that would be great.
Okay.
Hey, Derek, let me ask you your first big question. So I know right now you got apps out for, the iPhone, and you got apps out for, the Android devices. But I know that the app for the iPhone is not certified by the App Store yet. Is that something you guys are going to do?
Yes, we are. The issue with App Store is that the level of privacy that you give up when you put in the App Store is pretty limited. So yes. I think it's a decision that, well, obviously we're going to have the Apple Store, the Apple iPhone app. I mean, I have an iPhone. I'd like to have it too. But there is, kind of like that warning. Hey, if you decide to use Apple, consider that your information and stuff is not as safe as using a desktop wallet or something like that. So,
right.
But yeah. There's the plans, of course.
Yeah, I asked that because I had a couple people that went to install it, and they get that little notification where they have to check, to make sure it's okay to run.
Sure.
Okay, guys, real quick, I want to just let me hop in here because I do want to do a screen share real quick, and I want to show you guys a couple things real fast because I've had a lot of people come to me and say, all right, I don't know how to actually buy. So let me cover this because I know even on my list right here, guys, I'm going to minimize this, but you can see right here there's a lot of zeros, okay? Now, I've got a lot of people that have obviously bought, but here's the problem. A lot of people don't know how to buy. So this is very common, and it's very simple. You can see right here on Bitcoin. Let's just say you want to put in 1 Bitcoin, okay? And that's going to give you 6,000 TPay, okay? So now I'm going to show you this in real life because I'm actually going to buy this live, guys, just so you can see that I really do believe in what we're doing right here. I believe that this coin is going to give us an opportunity to make 10 to 1 on our money. Otherwise, I wouldn't have did it, okay? So I'm going to go in. I'm going to do a scan the QR code. I'm going to click right here on get 6,000 TPay. You notice what happened at the bottom of my screen. It now showed me that the QR code. That's what I was looking for all along. And it also gives you the address if you want to copy and paste it. So I go over here to scan QR code. It scanned it on my wallet, okay, because I'm using it on my phone, okay, and tokenpay. So now I'll go ahead and hit this over here, slide to confirm. I got to open up my Google Authenticator on my side. Okay, let me let it refresh and give me the new code. Hold on one second, guys. Just about there. Okay, so then then I copy that over here, come here. Done. Okay, so I just sent my fund transfer. So here's the last step, guys. You want to come down here and hit transfer confirmed. Okay, now it'll tell you it's automatically checking the transaction. So once that goes through, you're going to see that move actually happen. So here's the thing, guys, you want to watch. So if you go right here where it says transaction, this is actually going to show you that you guys have had your transaction. So I just started this with just a little bit, okay? You also see one right here that says pending. This was me showing somebody how to do it. I'm going to remove that one because that's not real. And then this one right here, I'll wait for the confirmations, and then if I have to confirm it again, I can click confirm, okay? And then the nice part is they'll verify the transaction for you, and it'll automatically show up within 24 hours. That's a big deal. I know it's taken me about 24 hours. Is that correct for you guys, Derek?
Yeah. Some a little bit longer than others. It depends on the exchanges and how long it takes. There was that time in the beginning with Coinbase. Coinbase was literally closed for a whole day. It really set a huge backlog. So yeah, it's about 24 to 48 hours.